Hey everybody, it's Bruce from Bruce's Bees. Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell, I'm not in hot and humid Alabama right now. Instead, I'm out here in hot and dry Utah. Behind me, you can see that beautiful backdrop. My in-laws' yard is right through there. What a beautiful place it is. I had a great opportunity yesterday to go to a place called Roots Charter High School to see kind of what they're doing over there. They do have bees. They're doing some great work over there. I got the hat here and I got a t-shirt. It says 243. So you'll be able to find out what that means in this video. It's a great philosophy they have there. This is the first of a 2-video series. The information, the content was so good, I just couldn't pack it all into one video. So without further ado, let's just move on to the video. So here we are at Roots Charter High School. This is Tyler Bastian. And we're gonna put our mask on now. I just wanted to see what we look like.
I wish I had a better looking mask. Yours is nice.
I first met Tyler, I think back in 2014. He had a couple beehives in his backyard, and at that time you were working on getting the school set up and going. And when he told me the concept of the school, I've been, in the back of my mind, I've been thinking about it for a long time. Of course, bees are involved here. That's one reason we're here today. But Tyler, could you just take a moment and just kind of share the vision of what Roots Charter High School is all about?
Yeah, Roots Charter High School is we're a school that targets students who are at risk of not graduating, students who've kind of been disengaged with learning, disengaged with education in general. And our goal through hands-on learning through the farm is to really re-engage them with that learning process. The fact that they're disengaged is more about the system of education than it is about learning. You know, kids naturally want to learn, they want to discover. And we found that through the farm kind of creates that tool to re-engage them and get them back kind of wanting to know and wanting to learn what's around them. And in the process, then we can get them back graduated.
They give them some success in life, so to speak.
Yeah, so give them success, let them kind of have a different experience. A lot of kids aren't successful in education because the system doesn't work for how they learn, it doesn't work for their personalities, and so creating that system. We get a lot of kids who have behavior issues, who've struggled, and so we have definitely more of a loving, not as punishing environment. A lot of schools have gotten pretty strict. We're definitely not as strict as most schools, and so it kind of creates an atmosphere where they're a little more comfortable. We have 0 bullying, so really our students don't experience that at all. 200 kids makes that a little easier. When you have a real large school, bullying becomes a problem. But it's kind of a high love, high engagement culture, and the kids, I'd say the majority of the kids that come here find success.
That's great. I just feel like there's a place for students that just aren't academically inclined.
Yeah.
But they can get out on the farm and so forth, and they can just get involved in things that they love. And you know, they're plenty smart, they just need to take a different approach.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of that. And so I guess we'll maybe walk around a little bit.
Do a little walk around. It's a mess right now. We're in the process of getting ready, so we moved
That's
around
okay.
a lot of classrooms. So yeah.
You were showing me an observation hive you were trying to get set up. Maybe
Let's walk back to that. This is an observation hive that we got through the Bee Project, which is a really cool organization. Pull that down so you can kind of see the logo. Or the Bee Cause Project, and they work with schools, they work with individuals to try to kind of push out their their philosophy of beekeeping and kind of just spread the hobby, spread the knowledge base. And then they work with another organization, Whole Kids Foundation, and that's who the grant was through. But the grant was for the hive. Observation hives I've found them to be pretty difficult to maintain. This hive collapsed last season, and we figured out the reason it collapsed is kind of fascinating. We were using a corrugated, this is our hypothesis, we were using a corrugated pipe, and I think because basically it starved to death, and you would see them come in and they'd have the pollen, but by the time they got down here, the pipe was almost acting as a pollen catcher and was stripping their legs as they walked through the corrugation. So we switched it out for just for the smooth pipe. We haven't had students since March, so we didn't set the hive up. but we'll set the hive up in the spring. And the kids, this is a kind of a good primer of what the school is, because you can bring a kid in here who has never shown any interest in bees. You start talking about, and they're able to see the queen, see what's going on. You know, pretty quickly that kid then is trying to get a book, looking up online, trying to learn more. And that's kind of the goal of Roots, is to use bees, use farming, use animals to be that primer to that education pump, to where they then kind of creates a desire, so then they go on and learn more. So this is a great tool for us. Just like, it's super hard to maintain. What's called the Roots Way, and this is kind of part of our culture, and really what we focus on are kind of these words that are in color. So community, energy, choice, control, energy again, connected, engaged, and then the law of the harvest. Our goal really, we're a character-based school, so we use a lot of these things. When a student gets in trouble, for example, you're not focusing as much on the behavior. You're focusing on, okay, what is your action? How does your action affect the community? How is that energy spent in the negative behavior? How is that affecting the community? How do your choices affect the community? Why do you lose control? How do you maintain control? And so we found that when you have these kind of cultural anchors, it really helps to kind of dial in those behaviors. As you walk around the school, you'll see this number 243 kind of everywhere. There's really no place in the building you can stand and not see it. But the 243 means we love you. I don't know if you're familiar. Mr. Rogers had 143, which is I love you. So it takes 2 letters to say we, 4 letters to say love, and 3 letters to say you.
Okay.
So we use that, and it's on all our shirts. It's on everything we produce through the school. We use that really as our suicide prevention program. Our students, we were averaging 6 to 7 suicide attempts a year amongst our students. And then we instituted this program, and since we put this program in place, we haven't had a single suicide attempt. We've had students who've been hospitalized or had to seek some pretty serious help because of suicide ideation, but there hasn't been a self-harm with the intent to kill themselves since this program. And I pretty much credit the program with them getting in a headspace to where they know, okay, if I'm feeling this, I have a loving adult that I can go to. Our count, or our cases where kids have come to us and saying, hey, I'm in a bad place, have gone way up since we instituted this program. It's pretty much become part of our culture in the way that you can take any kid that's been here for any significant amount of time, you can ask him what 243 means, he'll tell you, and you can even go as far as say, what does it mean for you? And the kids have really kind of internalized that.
So Tyler, what is this room about? It's kind of cool.
So this room's it's a new program this year. It's a maker space. And so we have like a 3D printer, and we're gonna get another one of those. Stations where the kids we're gonna have jewelry making. We have a laser cutter, a CNC machine, different tools where they can just start building things. We found, again, as a hands-on school, a lot of the kids are really drawn to the farm, and that's where they find it. Some of our kids they want to build something, and so allowing them kind of that mix of technology and the current technologies of 3D printing and laser cutting and different things, and allowing them to just be able to build. My goal really with education is just production. I want these kids to feel like they're producing something, and so the farm's easy to produce. The art program now will have really more of a production with the art space. This is our breeding bird room, and the birds, so we're raising right now finches and then parakeets.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, really what it is.
This is different than your average school for sure.
No, and it's just, for me, yeah, I mean, you'll get kids here. Yesterday I was here with a kid that was visiting, stressed out, and just to be able to sit here and be having a discussion with a student about hard things, but they're listening, but they're able to watch the birds and have that different outlet. We get kids who are struggling with anger, and to be able to come hang out here and watch the birds. Or we have a school dog that I should have entered. He was over next door, but I don't know where he was. His name is Banjo. He's another one that just that opportunity to constantly have interaction with animals. I think
just a cool thing
beneficial.
all the way around. Awesome.
Funny though, because that one finch was nesting in the box, and then had 2 eggs, and then stripped it down. and then moves her nest to
I see it right there behind the box.
behind the box. So
That's
like,
so funny. Just changed your mind.
yeah.
All right, cool.
So the farm is 5 acres that we control. The total property is 11 acres, but we really only have access to 5. We have the animal program, husbandry. We have this cut flower program. So this is our program where, are you familiar with the CSA, Community Supported Agriculture? So we have people subscribe, and then every week they pick up a flower bouquet, and then they pay up front, and which is nice because it gives us that cash up front to kind of buy seeds and start. So the cut flowers, this is some of our annuals. It actually goes back to the tower, and those are 2 chicken tractors, and we got four of those. Right now we have fox. So I was here early in the morning. We got 4 fox that are just coming harassing our chickens constantly. But in here we have kind of a mix of tomatoes mixed with flowers and herbs.
Wow. I see the bees
cucumbers.
working your, is that cucumbers or is
so
that
these are cucumbers.
squash?
I'm always blown away with when you do the pumpkins and squash. I don't know, you might know, I don't know how that affects the honey. I don't know what pumpkin flavored honey tastes like.
I don't, but I think it's more pollen.
Yeah.
But they have to, pumpkin, watermelon, cucumbers,
They go
all
crazy.
have to be pollinated.
Yeah.
And I actually had some bees this year on watermelons specifically for that purpose. Hey.
Action.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
This is Nephi.
Hey, I'm Nephi. I work here at the farm, doing a few things here and there. Right now I'm watering this wisteria.
We do, the goats are a meat goat, those are the breed of boar. And sheep, this is a animal that belongs to a student, more of an emotional support animal. More of a pet, I guess you could say.
I would say.
And this is our ram, and you can see by the fence that he's isolated because he's mean. He's not a friendly animal. And the rest are alpacas. The llama's named Cusco. Kids love him. He's kind of more of a mascot animal. And then the 2 donkeys are more of mascot animals. Pigs, that's a pig project there. And then I'll introduce you. These pigs are my favorite down here.
Okay.
This is kind of cool. It's kind of cool being the key word. We tried it this year. It hasn't gone real well, but it's called 3 Sisters. It's traditionally a Native American way of growing, and then you have kind of some different symbiotic plants. So you've got corn, beans, and then pumpkin or a squash, and they kind of all grow up each other. Corn we're experimenting with a drip system. Usually it doesn't work real well. It's worked okay this year. Pumpkins, this has been a weird year with the heat fluctuations, temperature fluctuations, and so pumpkins have not done as well as they usually do. Familiar with, you ever seen a Mangalisa? They're a Hungarian, I believe, pig. They call them the Kobe beef pork, so it's kind of a high-end meat. It's a different texture, different kind of pork. It actually looks more like a red meat, and then the fat in it kind of marbles differently. More of a marbled fat than like a beef, and it is pork. And they're also super friendly. This is the mother of the ones that are over there, and she lost so much weight when she was nursing, and she's kind of, it hasn't come on as quick as we'd like, so we've isolated her and just feeding her as much as we can. You can see how thin she is compared to like this guy. But they're super sweet. They do better on pasture, I should say. So ultimately the plan is to take all of our breeding stock and then we'll have them out there. This year and next year we're just doing a lot of pasture. We're trying to maintain an establishment of a pasture. It's just not that easy.
The babies right there.
Yeah, so these guys are,
Got 'em.
I think they're probably pushing 2 months old. They're funny though. They're a slow growing pig, so that's why they're not common in production. They kind of fit all of the negatives of when you have production. They're hard to breed.
they're slow growing, and they have small litters, which is like the opposite of what most meat producers want. We've liked the breed because they're more of a friendly, docile breed, and they're just more of an interesting as you look at them, and they're just not many people have seen pigs like that.
So you got foxes. So you got foxes tormenting the chickens?
Yeah, and what's weird is it's almost like, I don't know a lot about chickens, but it's funny because every night you'll have one that's dead.
You're stressed.
I think it's stress. Because literally when I get here in the morning, you'll see the fox just, there's 3 or 4 of them just running around, seeing what they can do. I don't know where it was, but they've also somehow, one of them, it's like they pulled an egg out somehow, and they've eaten the top and then just eaten out the egg. This is our mostly vegetables. We have some flowers mixed in. Don't mind the weeds. We haven't had students here since March, so the weeding is the majority. Prior to COVID, pretty much everything we grew here then would go into our school lunch program. We provide free lunch to every kid without, whether he financially qualifies or not. And again, that's the part of our culture is if everyone eats together, your bullying goes down and everyone's eating the same thing and sharing a meal. So culturally, it's been huge. And so yeah, most of this goes into that. We have sold a little bit of it, but not much. Tons of it gets donated back to our students' families as well. You want to introduce yourself?
Welcome to the farm.
Right. We started working, and the way charter schools work is you have to write a charter, kind of come up with an idea, write a charter, submit the charter to the state. So I started that process, I'd say, 2013 probably, 2012, and then we opened in 2015.
Here are the donkeys and the alpacas. There's the llama over there. Was that Cusco? I think that's Cusco over there. Do they normally have horns? Here's the male, the round.
I should know this, but this feels dehorned, but I don't know. Their horns don't get. I've never. Some
What's
of
up,
it might be
buddy?
scar tissue too. What's funny is that little guy's so. Oh, it's gross. That little guy's so arrogant. The heel comes up in like postures.
Like he wants to.
And they'll hit heads through there, and I'm just like, you can see who wins. I mean,
Yeah.
There's no dent coming from him. It's like destroyed from this side.
It's just so cool what they got going on out here. Big old sunflower up there, I think, about to bloom. Look at these sunflowers. It's just a neat place. Really cool concept. Got a guinea. Well, that's it for the first video. I hope you enjoyed it. Second video, part 2, is coming up soon. It's primarily going to be focused on bees mostly and going through their hives out there. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and hit that bell for future videos from me. On to the next video.